Hi, if you're new here, my name is Clara and I make bookish videos on the youtube.com, and I wanted to film a book haul because if you can take a gander here, you'll notice I have quite a few books that I've thrifted, all of these, and this has been over the course of like months, but I figured why not? But we're gonna make a video now about it, the accumulation. And yeah, I have so many books here, so I'm not gonna ramble too much before we get started, and I'm just gonna show you the books I've acquired recently-ish. And yeah, I hope you enjoy. Grab a snack or a drink because this is probably gonna be a hot minute of booking, so without further ado, let's start. I think the top is my most recent thrifts, so it's a little bit out of order of chronologicalness, but we're gonna do our best. So first of all, I found The Beautiful and Damned by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This is the Signet Classic version. I actually really like these. I used to really despise what are they called? Mass market paperbacks? Yes. I really used to hate them because I found them really difficult to read, but that was before I allowed myself to start cracking spines, so now I don't care anymore. And I will rip that baby open. Yeah, I have quite a few Signet Classics, and I used to have a ginormous bind up of a bunch of F. Scott Fitzgerald's works in this, like, it was really nice, but it was a huge hardcover that was over 1,000 pages, so it was just massive and it was taking up space, and I never like to read out of hardcovers, so I ended up getting rid of that a while ago. But I recently, the other day actually, found this, and I was excited because this is one that I've wanted to read. I did read, well, I reread The Great Gatsby last year, and it wasn't my favorite. This is the story of Harvard-educated Anthony Patch and his beautiful, willful wife, Gloria. This scathingly ironic tale tragically mirrored the relationship of Fitzgerald and his own wife, Zelda, from its giddy romance beginning to its alcohol-fueled demise. So yeah, I've been really getting into reading more classics lately. As you'll see from this haul is a lot. It's a lot of classics. It's spoiler alert, but yeah, I've been getting into classics, so anytime I see them, I grab them for the most part, if they're in good enough shape. I've been on this one for a long time. Okay, moving on. Next, we have this, which is a short story collection, and I read this author's novel. I believe it's her only novel, but she is an Argentine. She's from Argentina. She's a writer. And I read Tender is the Flesh by her a couple years ago, and that was a wild ride. And she released this, oh my goodness, I'm very much struggling with words today, I'm sorry. She released this short story collection, I believe not terribly long ago. I want to say it was either last year, maybe the year before, but copyright 2020. Okay, that was 4 years ago, almost. More than that. But yeah, as far as I know, this is just a bunch of short horror stories, and I'm excited, I guess you could say, though, if I'm thinking about her other novel. I'm a little bit scared because that book made me so uncomfortable. It was a wild ride. It wasn't bad, it was just like, I'm not happy to be reading this. So yeah, that's okay. Moving on. Next, I have an author that I have read before, and I actually just finished one of his novels this month, and I absolutely adored it. I've read another of his works too, so I read 2 by him so far, and I actually own a lot by him, and I think there's actually another novel by him in this stack somewhere. But I did find this edition while I was out thrifting this past weekend, and I was so excited because these editions, they're so beautiful, and I love the way they feel. I really do. And I know this is a huge debate whether or not people like deckled edges on their books, but I love deckled edges. I love playing with them while I'm reading, and I love the feeling of them. There's something about it, it's very nice. Anyways, I found The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck, and I have yet to read this. I think a lot of people had to read this in high school. I did not. I had to read Of Mice and Men in high school by him, and I remember liking that, and I actually reread that for the first time since high school last year, I think it was, and again, enjoyed it. And then, like I said, I'm not gonna talk about it right now, but I read another one of his books this month and I really liked it. I feel like when you think John Steinbeck, you think either this or East of Eden or Of Mice and Men. I mean, honestly, he's such a prolific writer that he has so many bangers. Yeah, but no, I was just very excited to get to this edition because I have East of Eden and Cannery Row, and I think The Pearl, maybe, in this edition. I like them. I like them so much. I wish they'd make more classics. They maybe do. I don't know. I wish they'd make more in this. Whatever. Okay. Anyways, Grapes of Wrath. I'll be honest, I don't really know what this is about, so this is going to be a fun time for you and me. Grapes of Wrath is a landmark of American literature, a portrait of the conflict between the powerful and the powerless, of one man's fierce reaction to injustice, and of one woman's stoical strength. This novel captures the horrors of the Great Depression and probes into the very nature of equality and justice in America. I guess it follows one Oklahoma family who are driven off their homestead and forced to travel west to the promised land of California. So this sounds like it's gonna be a real, it might be a real downer, honestly, but I'm excited for it. And like I said, I've been trying to read more classics lately, so I'm sure I'll get to this sometime soon. I don't know when, just because I have recently read a Steinbeck, so I'm still coming down from that, and I'll talk about that more in my wrap-up, but that was amazing, and I'm not sure any other work by him will top it for me. Anyway, okay, I'm just gonna show both because they're by the same author. I actually owned one of these a couple years ago, but it was also a thrifted edition, and it wasn't in the best shape. It was vaguely sticky, and I'm not a huge fan of sticky, so I ended up unhauling that, and I've been on the lookout for another edition because this is an author that I want to read. I'm just a little bit scared. It was a Steinbeck situation, truly, because I want to read this author, but I've heard mixed things, so I'm like, anyway. I already own a few of his books, so these are just adding to my collection of him when I do get to him. But that is Ernest Hemingway. So I found The Garden of Eden and For Whom the Bell Tolls. This was the one I owned prior, and yeah. But I like this edition, honestly. I'm not usually a fan of, you can see, the shiny plasticky covers. It's not really my vibe. I prefer like matte covers like The Grapes of Wrath was, but I like this cover. It's like a painting. And then I found what am I saying? I found The Garden of Eden, and I'd actually never heard of this one by him. I've obviously heard of For Whom the Bell Tolls. Couldn't tell you what it's about. We're gonna find out together in a second. But then I found this one, which is a matte copy actually. It's interesting. Different publisher? No, same publisher. What's going on? Okay. Yep. So, okay, anyway. For Whom the Bell Tolls, the story of Robert Jordan. Hey, that's a fantasy author. I know it's not about him, but it's a story of Robert Jordan, a young American in the international brigades attached to the anti-fascist guerrilla unit in the mountains of Spain. It tells of loyalty and courage, love and defeat, and the tragic death of an ideal. In his portrayal of Jordan's love for the beautiful Maria, and his superb account of El Sordo's last stand, and his brilliant travesty of La Pasionaria, and his unwillingness to believe in blind faith, Hemingway surpasses his achievement in The Son of Sorrow. Okay, that's opinion. How do you know he surpasses? This is just one guy's... Anyway, this sounds devastating. There seems to be a theme here. I don't think any of these sound happy yet, so I should work on that and find more happy things to read sometimes. And then Garden of Eden. Like I said, I found this, I picked it up because it was Ernest Hemingway. Oh, huh. Okay. A sensational bestseller when it appeared in 1986, The Garden of Eden is the last uncompleted novel of Ernest Hemingway, which he worked on intermittently from 1946 until his death in 1961. Set on the... Oh, I'm gonna mess up this place. The Côte d'Azur. In the 1920s, it is the story of a young American writer, David Bourne, his glamorous wife, Catherine, and the dangerous erotic game they play when they fall in love with the same woman. Oh, gay? Really? Oh, that just made me so excited. Oh, that's so interesting. I didn't know. Oh, that's very exciting. Oh, I might have to read this sooner than later. But anyway, I've never heard anybody talk about this. I've never heard of it, so I was very excited to have found it, and in relatively good condition. Moving on. This one, I near lost my mind in the thrift store because I have been hoping to get this at some point. It's been in my mind. Like, I want it. So when I found it at the thrift store, especially because I don't think it came out that long ago. I'm a liar. 2018? Okay, wait, is this what I'm thinking of then? There's no way. There's no way it could have been that long ago. Okay, well, I'm just gonna talk to you anyway. This is a book that I did have to read in high school. I have not picked it up since then. Yeah, this is a book that I had to... Sorry, I was making sure that this wasn't mold. It's not. It just looks questionable. Is it mold? What's going on? No, it can't be mold. Hello? What is... Okay, anyway, I don't know what's happening. This is, okay, sorry, I'm sorry. I'm back now. This is a book, like I was saying, I had to read in high school, and I remember enjoying it when I read it, and it's kind of one that I've wanted to pick up again and read. And then I heard, and I swear it wasn't this long ago, I heard about this being the first edition of this book to be translated by a woman, and I was really excited about that. And a lot of people were, I think. Anyway, I'm just gonna... This is The Odyssey by Homer, translated by Emily Wilson. I don't know, maybe she also did the Iliad or something, and that was more recent, and I heard about that, and that's why it's so fresh in my head. But I swear, I only heard about this like last year. I could be, apparently I am completely wrong because it says 2018, so I don't know where I got that, but anyways, I'm excited about this. Now I'm scared I'm telling you guys lies, and this isn't an actual thing, but I swear I heard that this was the first time that the Odyssey had been translated and published, edited by a woman. I'm just gonna, that's my idea of it. Anyway, you see why I thought this was mold? Am I crazy? I'm gonna have to look up this this cover after and see if it's supposed to look like that, because I'm not convinced. This next one, another thrift, another Another book that had been in that big bind up I was talking about of F. Scott Fitzgerald stuff, but I found This Side of Paradise by him, and this was published in 1920 when the author was just 23. Wow, okay. Didn't have to flex on us like that. It's about the education of a youth into this universal story. Fitzgerald brought the promise of everything that was new in the vigorous, restless America of the years following World War I. Amory Blaine, egoistic, versatile, callow, and imaginative, inhabits a book that is interwoven with songs, poems, play scripts, questions, and answers. His growth from self-absorption to sexual awareness and personhood is described with a continuous improvisatory, my gosh, energy and delight. Like I said, The Great Gatsby is the only book by F. Scott Fitzgerald that I have read, but I would like to get into him because I know a lot of people love him. And I would like to be part of that crew. Next up, okay, this is a nonfiction I found. I swear I have a sixth sense for finding books because I will think about a book, right? Okay, stay with me. I sound absolutely crazy, but I'll think about a book and then the next time I go thrifting, I'll find it. The fact that I keep doing this and like thinking about a book and then finding it is crazy when there's not like, what are the chances? Apparently very good, because this has happened to me my whole life. I'll go thrifting, I'll think about something prior to going thrifting and I'll find it within like a week or two, and it's crazy. I don't know if I'm just because I'm looking for it that I'm conscious of it being there, but it feels too weird. It feels like the universe is on my side in this one aspect of my life, and it's awesome. Anyways, this is a nonfiction called Trick Mirror by Gia Tolentino. Reflections on Self-Delusion. Trick Mirror is an enlightening, unforgettable trip through the river of self-delusion that surges just beneath the surface of our lives. In each essay, Tolentino writes about a cultural prism, the rise of the nightmare social internet, the advent of scamming as the definitive millennial ethos, the literary heroine's journey from brave to blank to bitter, the punitive dream of optimization which insists that everything, including our bodies, should become more efficient and beautiful until we die. I'm excited. I've heard good things about this. This seems to either be a hit or miss with people, but I'm hopeful that it will be a hit for me. And this cover is really cool. Next up, finally, not a classic, I found this and I wasn't sure if I wanted to pick it up because I have heard mixed things about it, and I don't want that to sway me when it comes to thrifting books. This is an author that I haven't read from yet. I do own another book by her. I'm blanking on the name of it, but I think that's the one I want to get to first. That's over there. And this is The Once and Future Witches. I swear anytime I hear about this book by Alex E. Harrow, there seems to be no middle ground for this. Over 500 pages long. So this is gonna be, I'm gonna have to really be in the mood for this, I think, before I pick it up. 1893, there's no such things as witches. There used to be in the wild dark days before the burnings began, but now witching is nothing but tidy charms and nursery rhymes. If the modern woman wants any measure of power, she must find it at the ballot box. But when the Eastwood sisters, James Juniper, Agnes Amaranth, and Beatrice Belladonna, joined the suffragettes of New Salem, they began to pursue the forgotten worlds in ways that might turn the women's movement into the witches' movement. Stalked by shadows and sickness, hunted by forces who will not suffer a witch to vote, and perhaps not even to live, the sisters will need to delve into the old magics, draw new alliances, and heal the bond between them if they want to survive. Wow, we're getting there. We're like halfway through the stack, maybe less. Cool. Oh yeah. Okay, so next book I have is an author that I have yet to read, but I am excited to. Heard that this is not her most favorite work by people. I've been looking for the other one by her, which is Written on the Body, but I did find Sexing the Cherry by Jeanette Winterson, and this cover is so interesting. It's very 90s. It feels very 90s. I love this like the little pinch. Why are we pinching? This is a dazzling novel of history, fable, and myth. The story of Jordan and his mother, the dog woman, who live in pestilent London during the reign of Charles II. When Jordan travels off to see the world, he learns that time is one. That's in quotes. Time is one. And every journey conceals another within. Journeys bounded only by the limits of imagination. I don't know what that means. I'll be so totally real with you right now. That made very little sense to me, but I'm excited to get to this. I've heard nothing but wonderful things about Jeanette Winterson's writing. So when I found this, I was very excited. But like I said, I've been trying to find written on the body anywhere, and just completely, it's not anywhere. I've been to multiple bookstores. I've looked in the thrift stores. I guess my thrift gods aren't looking out for me because I haven't found that yet, and I've been thinking. Okay? You hear that? I've been thinking about it. Where is it? Give it to me. Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit, I believe, is the name of the novel that I own by her. But I might have to read this soon because it's not very long. It's less than 200 pages. And it's an author that I've been really wanting to get into for a while because she's so highly praised in the literary world. So yeah, I'm excited for that one. Next, I have, yeah. So I'll be honest with you, I don't really know what this one is about. That seems to be a theme here, doesn't it? But I'm gonna sneeze. Why do I always sneeze on camera? What's that? Anyways, this book is one I picked up because I've been trying to collect this edition, and it's the Oxford World Classics. I love them. I don't know what it is, but along with, wow, collect yourself. Along with the Oxford World Classics, I love the Penguin Black Spines. Those two editions, they feel so good in my hands. They feel so good in my hands, and I like reading them. I like the pages. I like how floppy they are, and I like the covers, how they're matte and they feel nice on my finger. Anyway, so I've been anytime I find one, I will grab it if I don't own it already. And I did find this at the thrift store the other day, and it's called Castle Rackrent by Maria Edgeworth. This is an author and a book that I haven't heard anything about. I've never heard of this classic, but I really adore this cover. He's just a silly, goofy guy, and I can get behind that. I also really like about these editions that they include like an introduction, notes on the text, chronological, like the chronological writings of the author usually. There's usually an appendix and an explanatory. Wow, my goodness, I'm so sorry. Just pretend that I'm doing okay verbally. There's a glossary. Like, it just includes so much. Castle Rackrent's narrator, Thady Quirk, fantastic. Thady Quirk gives us 4 generations of Rackrent heirs: Sir Patrick, the dissipated spendthrift; Sir Murtaugh, the litigating fiend; Sir Kit, the brutal husband and gambling absentee; and Sir Condy, the lovable and improvident dupe of Thady's own son, Jason. With his satire and Anglo-Irish landlords, Edgeworth pioneered the regional novel inspired Sir Walter Scott's Waverley. Okay, sure. I'm sorry I stumbled so much over that. My goodness. The font is actually decently sized too, so hold on, I gotta change my battery. Okay, we're so back. Okay, next book I have is another, hello? Next book I have is another classic, and this is another Steinbeck. I found The Wayward Bus in a Penguin Classics edition. It's so good. Even though it's small, it's floppy. I love that. Fantastic. I'd never heard of this one by him. I'm getting the sense he has a lot of books now, though. Like, now I'm getting it, not now he is the imaginative and unsentimental chronicle of a bus traveling California's back roads, transporting the lost and the lonely, the good and the greedy, the stupid and the scheming, the beautiful and the vicious, away from their shattered dreams and possibly towards the promise of the future. That sounds lovely. Stop. This sounds so whimsical. Maybe whimsical's not the word I wanted, but this sounds delightful and I'm excited to get to this now. My gosh, you'd think I would retain what I've read on the backs of these prior to this video, but I don't. So it's like Christmas when I'm going through books for you guys. I'm like, what's this about? I don't know. We're gonna find out together. I love this cover so much. I had one of these phones growing up. I loved this thing. Anyways, this cover is fantastic. This is the 90s by Chuck Klosterman. And I've seen a bunch of his books in thrift stores before, but never this one. So when I found this one, I was very excited because I've been wanting to read this for a while. It's a nonfiction all about the 90s. And I'm a 90s kid, so I'm very nostalgic for that time and the early 2000s and all that. But this is, he dissects the film, the music, the sports, the TV, the pre-9/11 politics, and changes regarding race and class and sexuality, the yin-yang of Oprah and Alan Greenspan, and almost everything else. Future historians might well refer to this entire period as Klostermanian. What? That's really funny, actually. Also, I love this artistic choice to make, like, what's going on here? Who the phone? I had one of those bad boys. I loved that thing. I miss it. I don't know when it left me, but I'm sad. Oh, it's raining. This is another book I was ecstatic to find thrifting and in great condition. Like, it doesn't look like anyone's ever touched it or opened it at all. This is another nonfiction. I believe it's essays, and it is The Collected Schizophrenias by Esme Wei-Jun Wong. It begins with Esme's long journey towards a diagnosis and then ventures into the daily realities of life with mental illness. Her essays dispel misperceptions and provide insight into a condition long misunderstood, accumulating in a book of undeniable clarity and power. And I've heard amazing things about this, and I know this is going to be another heavy read, but I am excited to get to this when nonfiction is calling me again. Honestly, this might be picked up sooner rather than later. I also really love how this looks like one of those old notebooks. What are they called? There's a name for them, you know what I mean. Okay, my stack's almost falling over here, but we persist. Next, I have another book. I was like, I believe I found this in the same trip as The Collected Schizophrenias and the 90s, so I was just having a ball. I was having the best day of my life. And again, this doesn't look like anyone ever touched it. Doesn't look like anyone read it ever. Post-Traumatic by Chantal V. Johnson. And this is a fiction book. To the outside observer, Vivian is a success story. A dedicated lawyer. Bear with me, I'm sorry. When I get too excited, I stutter a lot. This is one of those times, it seems. I'm gonna try again. Thank you. To the outside observer, Vivian is a success story, a dedicated lawyer who advocates for mentally ill patients in a New York City psychiatric hospital. Privately, she contends with the memories and after effects of her bad childhood, living in a constant state of hypervigilant awareness that makes even a simple subway ride a heart-pounding drama. For years, Vivian is self-medicated with a mix of dating, dieting, dark humor, and smoking weed with her BFF Jane. But after a family reunion prompts her to take a bold step, Vivian finds herself alone in new and terrifying ways without even Jane to confide in, and she starts to unravel. Will she find a way to repair what matters most to her? I don't know that I'm in the headspace for most of these at this moment in time, but when I am, I'm gonna have such a great time. We have another nonfiction. I'm killing it for the nonfictions. This is Why Fish Don't Exist, A Story of Lost Love and the Hidden Order of Life by Lulu Miller. This is crazy. This is another one of those that I heard someone on BookTube talking about, and they pitched it so well that I was like, yes, I must find this immediately. And I'm pretty sure I went to the thrift store the next day, and guess what was there? Why Fish Don't Exist. So that was cool. This is a dark and astonishing tale of love, chaos, scientific obsession, and possibly even murder. Is this nonfiction? Oh, okay. It's biography and autobiography. A man possessed would bring order to the natural world, but chaos seemed out to get him. His fish collections were demolished by lightning, by fire, and eventually by the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, which sent more than 1,000 specimens housed in fragile glass jars plummeting to the floor. In an instant, his life's work was shattered, but instead of giving in to despair, Jordan introduced one clever innovation that he believed would at last protect his work against the chaos of the world. Okay, so Lulu Miller is an NPR reporter who heard this story. There's also illustrations in here. Wow, okay. I'm very excited about this. I truly am. Oh, look at it. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. Look at you and me discovering things. I love this for us. Next book I have is a book that I have been hearing so many amazing things about. I've been watching a lot of classic lit booktubers and literary fiction booktubers and stuff like that. So I've been hearing a lot about this book, and I'm very excited. And I don't know whether to start with this one. So I'm gonna ask you guys who have read works of his, which book of this author is the best to start with, because I do own a few of them, and I will tell you about that. But first, let me show you this book. This is The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I practiced that and I still couldn't get it. Amazing. This is a Russian classic. This is a murder mystery, a courtroom drama, and an exploration of erotic rivalry in a series of triangular love affairs involving the wicked and sentimental Fyodor Pavlovich Karamazov and his three sons, the impulsive and sensual Dmitri, the coldly rational Ivan, and the healthy, red-cheeked young novice Alyosha. Through the gripping events of their story, Dostoevsky portrays the whole of Russian life, its social and spiritual startings, in what was both the golden age and the tragic turning point in Russian culture. I went so far as to read a Reddit thread about which book to start with, and so many people were saying that this is a hard one to get through, in the sense that you really have to spend a lot of time on it, and it's going to take time because it is like 800 pages. I'm so sorry for the vocal fry today. I don't know why, but my throat is not pleased with me. I'm so excited for this. Like, just reading the back again makes me want to pick this up immediately, but at the same time, I don't know if I should start with this one and then read his other works, because I own this. Okay, stay with me. I own this. I own The Idiot, and I own Crime and Punishment. Is that the way to go? Because like, this interests me the most, but I've heard this is one of the hardest to get through, so it scares me. But if I start here and then I work my way back, the others will seem easy in comparison. So if you've read any of these, if you've read Dostoevsky and you have an opinion about which one I should start with, please let me know. Moving on. This is J.D. Salinger's Franny and Zoe. I believe this is about siblings. Franny and Zoe, I believe, is actually a brother. I could be completely wrong. Man, someone wrote in this. I can't get this first word, but it says it's about follow your own path. Okay, thank you. J.D. Salinger wrote The Catcher in the Rye, and I've actually been meaning to reread The Catcher in the Rye, because I think I'll get something different from it now than when I was, like, what, a freshman in high school? That was so long ago. I think it's about time for a reread. Anyways, next up, I have another Steinbeck. Oh my god. And this is The Winter of Our Discontent. Ethan Hawley, a descendant of proud New England sea captains, works as a clerk in the grocery store owned by an Italian immigrant. His wife is restless, his teenage children are troubled and discontented, hungry for the tantalizing material comforts he cannot provide. Then one day, in a moment of moral crisis, Ethan decides to take a holiday from his own scrupulous standards. So he just ditches his family? That's crazy. Sounds great. And this is another shortish one, so this will probably come before I read Grapes of Wrath. It's a little beat up, but I was so excited to find it that I couldn't pass it up. This is another one that's been on my list of like wanting to read because people talk about it so highly, and I've never read anything from this author, so I'm excited to get to it at some point. And that's Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason. Martha Friel, who just turned 40, she used to work at Vogue and was going to write a novel. Now she creates internet content for no one. She used to live in Paris. Now she lives in a gated community in Oxford that she hates and can't bear to leave. But she must now that her loving husband Patrick has just left. Because there's something wrong with Martha. There has been since a little bomb went off in her brain at 17, leaving her changed in a way no doctor or drug could fix then, and no one, even now, can explain. Who can say why she is so often sad, cruel to everyone she loves, why she finds it harder to be alive than other people. With Patrick gone, the only place Martha has left to go is her childhood home to live with her chaotic parents and survive without Ingrid, the sister, who made their growing up bearable, who said that she would never give up on Martha, and who finally has. It feels like the end, but maybe by going back, Martha will get to start again. Maybe there's a different story to be written if Martha can work out where to begin. This sounds absolutely devastating. And I am not anywhere in the mindset to be reading this, or any of these, frankly. I tried to read, what was it? I tried to read We Spread by Ian Reid recently. I got 25 pages in and I was like, oh my gosh, I am not in the mindset for this. So I don't know when I will be in the mindset for this, but it sounds so good. It sounds like something I need, and I want to read it, and I'm just so, I can't do it to myself yet, but it will happen, I promise. Okay. Those were all my thrifted books. I do have 4 books here that I got new, that I did want to share with you guys just because we're here. So first up, we do have We Spread by Ian Reid. It is so sad already, and I know it's just gonna get worse. But Ian Reid wrote I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which I read a few years ago, and I really liked. It was so bizarre. This is about Penny, who is an artist, and she's lived in the same apartment for decades among the artifacts and keepsakes of her long life. She is resigned to the mundane rituals of old age until things start to slip. Provisions were made, unbeknownst to her, for a room in a unique long-term care residence where Penny finds herself after one too many incidents. But as the days begin to blur together, Penny, with a growing sense of unrest and distrust, starts to lose her grip on the passage of time and on her place in the world. Is she succumbing to the subtly destructive effects of aging? Or is she an unknowing participant in something more unsettling? I feel like this is going to devastate me. Maybe in October, because I feel like this is also going to be a little bit spooky. Next up, I have a book that I never read when I was reading more of this genre category of books, and I'm really sad I didn't, especially now, because I feel like there's been, I don't know if a resurgence is the right term, but I've been hearing about this book a lot, which is crazy considering this book came out in what, like 2016, 2017? But I've heard so many good things about this duology, and so I picked this up for myself, and I'm really excited to get into it. It's been a hot minute since I read young adult. A hot minute. Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I love this cover. This is about Laszlo Strange, war orphan and junior librarian, has been obsessed with the mythic lost city of Weep for as long as he can remember, but it would take someone bolder than he to cross half the world in search of it. Then a stunning opportunity presents itself in the person of a hero called the Godslayer and a band of legendary warriors, and he has to seize his chance or lose his dream forever. What happened in Weep 200 years ago to cut it off from the rest of the world? What exactly did the Godslayer slay that went by the name of God? The answers await in Weep, but so do more mysteries, including the blue-skinned goddess who appears in Laszlo's dreams. How did he dream of her before he knew she existed? This sounds so cool. I'm really excited. I'm really excited. I haven't been excited about a YA book in a hot minute. I feel like I've kind of outgrown it in a sense. Not to say that I won't read YA, but I feel like for the most part I just don't gravitate towards it anymore. which saddens me because I used to read so much of it, but this is gonna be so good. I feel like I'm gonna love it. Next up is another book that I've heard about. I know the like sequel of it came out this year. That is Hild by Nicola Griffith. This is a chunky boy. Oh, the top? Okay, so another thing that got me is the top, one of the little quotes says, "Extraordinary, Hild resonates to many of the same chords as Beowulf, the Legends of King Arthur, The Lord of the Rings, and Game of Thrones. Say less." In 7th century Britain, a new religion is coming ashore and small kingdoms are merging frequently and violently. Hild is the king's youngest niece, with a glittering mind and a natural authority. She is destined to become one of the pivotal figures of the early Middle Ages, Saint Hilda of Whitby. But for now, she has only the powerful curiosity of a bright child and the precarious advantage of a plotting uncle, Edwin of Northumbria, who will stop at nothing to become Overking of Angle. She is indispensable as long as she doesn't lead Edwin astray. The stakes are high, life and death for Hild, for her family, and increasingly for those who seek the protection of this strange girl who seems to see the future. So this was like based on a real person, so it's historical fiction. I am not normally one for historical fiction, but I think that the time period really interests me, and the fact that there's some like almost magical aspect to it, the fact that she can like see the future. I don't know if it's for real or not. It sounds like it's gonna have a lot of political intrigue, which I really liked. I really liked that aspect of Game of Thrones. Every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, let me pick you up, I want to read it. And then this last book, I already have tabs in it because I want to read it so soon. The Book of Disquiet by Fernando Pessoa. Fernando Pessoa was many authors in one. He attributed his prolific writings to a wide range of alternate selves, each of which had a distinct biography, ideology, and horoscope. When he died in 1935, Pessoa left behind a trunk filled with unfinished and unpublished writings, among which were the remarkable pages that make up his posthumous masterpiece, The Book of Disquiet, an astonishing work that, in George Steiner's words, gives to Lisbon the haunting spell of Joyce's Dublin. And it just seems to be a bunch of like musings, almost diary entries is what I'm gathering from like just flipping through it. It's divided interestingly into like not necessarily chapters but parts, and it just seems to be just a little thought, his little thoughts. The top says a factless autobiography, whatever that means, a disquiet anthology. In my research trying to find books that deal with solitude and loneliness, this book came up a lot, and so it's been one that I wanted to get my hands on, because especially after being so disappointed with A Journal of Solitude by May Sarton, I am hopeful that this is gonna hit a little bit better than that did. But every time I flip this open, like, I just find the most beautiful passages. Like, this is in the middle of the book, and it just says, "I seek and don't find myself. I belong to chrysanthemum hours, neatly lined up in flower pots. God made my soul to be a decorative object. I don't know what overly pompous and selective details define my temperament. If I love the ornamental, it must be because I sense something there that's identical to the substance of my soul." Are you kidding me? Like, the writing just seems like it's going to be so beautiful. So I like preemptively, I put tabs in here because I know this is going to be a book I'm going to want to annotate and mark up. I'm sure it's going to be a book I'm going to come back to. Gorgeous gorgeous handwriting. The writing seems so beautiful is what I'm trying to say. Anyways, I'm sorry, this was a crazy disaster verbally. Stumbled over myself a lot, but I'm glad you're still here. I hope you enjoyed this haul. I've been wanting to make one of these for a hot minute, and I'm excited that now I don't have to worry about where all of these are. I can just put them back and I don't have to think about them until I want to read them. So that's exciting news for me. Let me know down in the comments if you've read any of these books. And again, the Dostoevsky thing, let me know which one you suggest I should start with if you've read any of him. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon. Love you. Bye.